Your Black World in the Black Business School. And what's going on? Today, there's a singer named Anne Marie. I don't know who Anne Marie is. I've never heard an Anne Marie song. Don't care much about what Anne Marie did in terms of music. But Anne Marie is accused of something that's pretty crazy, pretty unthinkable. She's actually accused of shooting her boyfriend in the head. The police are claiming that Anne Marie, I guess that he was cheating and things got bad and she got a little bit pissed off and she ends up shooting the guy in the head. Now, I'm not here to really gossip and talk about Anne Marie or her life or what she does with her boyfriend, but I am here to talk about young people, Black love, and what love looks like, of course, and choices. She's a beautiful young girl. It's very sad to see this happen. And the thing is, as an OG type, I've seen some of these things happen. So we're going to break all this down on Dr. Boyce TV. Get comfortable, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to get started now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, Black people? Hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Now, at the time I'm recording this, it's kind of late at night, but I work into the night. I like to work. I like what I do. And so I thought that I would jump in real quick and talk about something that somebody sent to me. And I really, really think it's important to talk about this. And the reason is because I have kids. How many of you got kids? Raise your hand. Put a yes in the chat if you have kids. Or if you remember how stupid we were when we were younger. If you were stupid when you were in your 20s, raise your hand. Or if you have kids, then say yes in the chat. And the reason that this is important to talk about, is that a lot of times people that hit that OG status, like myself, I'm 49, right? I'm not 29 anymore. And, we get to a point where we say, oh, we ain't going to talk about that, or that's what young people are doing or whatever. But I grew up in a space where I was taught to believe that the job of an OG or an older adult is to provide mentorship to young people, to help them avoid mistakes, to basically look at life as what it is. Life is a big university. You guys know I was a college professor for 27 years. I still am. I teach in the Black Business School. And one of the things that I really want to help you understand is that you do most of your learning in life. Our kids, look at our kids. Our kids, they ain't learn nothing in school. I mean, these schools are terrible, but they're learning in life. And so life is a perfect classroom. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, my father, to get me to not use drugs, we'd be driving down the street. He'd be like, "You see that motherfucker over there?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." He'd be like, "You see, he used to be the star of the basketball team, but now look at him." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't want to be like that." And that was his way of telling me, like, if you mess with drugs like him, you get in that dope, your life is going to be messed up. So life is a great university. So I love to see examples that allow us to teach young people. Now, there's a singer named Anne Marie, and she's out of Chicago, apparently. She was in Atlanta this week. And Anne Marie's in the media right now because apparently, at least she's accused of shooting her boyfriend in the head. Now, do I know if Anne Marie actually shot her boyfriend in the head or not? I don't know. But apparently, from what I've been reading, they're claiming that a lot of this came from an allegation of cheating, that basically he's accused of cheating on her. And because she was so distraught by the cheating, she decided allegedly to put that gun in that bullet in his head. Now, did she do it? I don't know. I believe in innocent till proven guilty. And really, I'm not here to speculate on whether she did it or not. I mean, her story now is, well, the gun fell off the table and it discharged and, stuff like that. And that's fine. I'll let the police sort that out. But really what I want to the reason that this story really got my attention is because, I remember being in my 20s and I remember, that relationships were really hard. I don't know about anybody else, but I found relationships were real hard in my 20s. There were just things that I didn't understand, things that would just piss you off. You get in these crazy fights and crazy things would happen. And I've seen it a lot, as a college professor. I've seen a lot on college campuses where students get killed. Like I've seen students kill each other, over stuff where I'm like, damn, like this is some shit that you would have forgot about a year from now, but now you're going to be in prison for 60 years. Like, is that really what you wanted? But sometimes when you're in the moment, you make those decisions, and those decisions stay with you for life. So like my friend, the rapper Vigilante out of Kansas City, Kansas, likes to say, he says something like a moment can cost you a lifetime or something like that. And I think that we don't do enough to tell young people that, right? Like, I think that we have too much music that inspires this mindset of, like I'm just going, like, however I feel, I'm going to do it now, right? Like if she looks good, I'm going to have sex with her. It don't matter if I'm paying 18 years of child support, or if I'm pissed at this dude, I'm going to kill him right now. And I'm not thinking about what that feels like to do all those years in prison. Anybody remember? Give me a yes or no if you remember the movie with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence called Life. Did anybody see the movie Life? Give me a yes or no if you remember that movie. That movie was interesting to me because that movie Life was like some real shit. It was like some real shit because I went to watch this movie expecting the movie to be like this great comedy. I expected to laugh the whole time. And you know what was interesting is I didn't laugh. It was like kind of like, remember when Dave Chappelle got real serious when your boy got killed in Minnesota? Say his name in the chat. It's late at night, so forgive me for that the name's not in my shoot, I feel bad that I'm not saying his name. I apologize for that. Forgive me. Just chalk it up to me being stupid. But anyway, so the movie got real serious, and it was like they went to prison and they were in prison for life, and they kept trying to get out, and you kept thinking they were going to break out of prison. You kept thinking something was going to change. And the young George Floyd, thank you. I'm so sorry. My apologies. So, because I should know his name, and I do know his name. It just wasn't in my brain. But anyway, so he's telling the story to a young guy, and the young guy's like, okay, so what happened next? Like, what happened next? And he's thinking like something exciting must have happened. Like they must have got out of jail. And he said, no, they just got old. They just got old. They stayed in prison and just got old. Right. And that's the thing that people don't tell young people. Like when you're young and you're, feeling good and life is good and you got your whole life in front of you, you get in a situation like, oh man, I'm gonna pop the trunk and take this dude out or whatever. They don't tell you what happens on the other side of that, right? When the police come get you and they take you out of society, like that's why Joe Biden's crime bills were so devastating. They take you out of society where you don't exist anymore. You to a lot of people, you live in a shadow world. You live in another world called the U.S. Prison system. And you just kind of disappear in the eyes of a lot of people. And then you just get old. You get old in the pits of hell. Like you're sitting in this hell where terrible things are happening, people getting beaten up and raped every day, mental illnesses everywhere, STDs, disgusting food, a terrible life, wearing the same dirty clothes every day. And you do that for like 80 years. And you used to be the young fly OG, or not OG, but the young fly guy on the street. And you were the gangster and all this other stuff. But now you're just getting old. You're getting old behind bars, and I think that this is important, and I hope y'all can bear with me. I know some people think that I'm crazy when I talk about stuff like this, but I really have a heart for the young people that don't have guidance, because I think that if they understood these things, if somebody told them these things, they wouldn't make some of those mistakes. Like, because sometimes you get so mad, you're in a relationship, something goes wrong, and you want to go kill the guy because he's sleeping with your girl, or maybe the girl, in this case, I don't know, assuming that she did any of this, she's innocent until proven guilty, but assuming Anne Marie might have done this, that hurt, that anger, that pain she might have felt. The question becomes, obviously, is that worth life in prison? The answer is obviously no, but I think that there's a deeper discussion as well about how do you get to the core of that? Like, what pain was she feeling? What trauma was she reflecting that might have led her to engage in this terrible behavior? And the same thing is true with men. When men are abusive toward women, a lot of times it's just a grown-ass man throwing a temper tantrum. In his mind, he feels like the victim. I don't know, has anybody ever seen that where somebody is super, super abusive and you're like, you beat women on a regular basis, like, what's wrong with you? And if you really listen to a person like that, like, they'll tell you a story where in their mind, they were the victim. And in their mind, they had to be abusive because somebody victimized them. And it's really, really bad. You think it's bad with women. It's bad with women for sure, but it's bad with men and bad with women. On the male side, I've seen that in terms of physical violence. For the women's side, it doesn't only exist, but it's actually encouraged. In fact, I was looking at the comments when people were talking about this lady allegedly shooting this guy in the head. And one thing I found that was really fascinating is a lot of people almost made excuses for her. Like a lot of people, and it happened also when I saw another one where this lady had got so hurt that her boyfriend cheated on her that she ran him over with a car. And while his dead body is laying on the ground, she picks up the hubcap, or not the hubcap, but the bumper, and slams it on his dying body. And people were laughing, and people were saying, well, I guess he won't mess with her no more, or what? I don't know what he must have done to deserve that. And that's really interesting to me, because basically you're saying that people deserve to be physically assaulted if they hurt somebody's feelings. Like you're saying that domestic abuse is okay if the victim is a man. That shooting somebody in the head because they hurt your feelings is okay. Well, it's not okay. I mean, we know. I mean, it's common sense. It's not okay, because a lot of us, give me a yes or no in the chat if somebody has ever hurt your feelings in a relationship. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've ever been done dirty, if somebody ever did you wrong, or lied to you, or mistreated you, or disrespected you, or left you for no good reason, right? Has anybody ever gone through that, where literally if there was a court of law for relationships, that person would have been found guilty on all charges and gotten the death penalty? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've gone through that. I'm raising both hands because it's happened to me more times than I can count. But the thing about it is that in none of those situations do you have the right or the opportunity, or the right or the ability, or better yet, the justification to ever engage in any sort of physical violence against that person. There's nothing that they can do to you that other than attacking you physically, that would justify you attacking them physically. And it's funny to me how people don't get that. And it's funny to me how people think those rules should bend if it's a woman. If it's a woman scorned or a woman's feelings hurt. No, you get scorned, you need to walk the fuck away. If you get scorned, you need to step your ass on and go find somebody better. If you get scorned, you need to go pick your shit up and move on like everybody else. Shit, life sucks. Life ain't fair. Love is risky. Love is hard. But you gotta keep moving. And the more you sit back and dwell on the bullshit of your past, the less likely you are to be able to move on to a promising future. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet, hit the notification bell. And also, we actually have some black love sorts of things going on. Alicia and I actually share some things about our relationship. It's a little bit weird to share things publicly, but we did that because we felt that young people were kind of looking to us to kind of explain certain things. So, like, well, why did you choose her? Why did you choose him? How does this work? So we just decided to put it on full display. So if you want to see some of this, you can go to the blackloveblueprint.com. And there's also a whole curriculum on love and money and everything else. And the first month is free. So if you want to go in and look at everything for free, you can, and try it out. The URL's on the screen. Here's a couple other thoughts I want to throw out here. Okay, so first things first, in terms of this beautiful young lady, I mean, she's a gorgeous girl. She's so pretty. In fact, I'll pull up a couple pictures. I saw it and I said, wow, this is kind of sad. And I could see how these things evolve, right? You're on Instagram flexing and looking good, and he hits you up in your DM, and next thing you know, the magic is happening. And it's all kind of this really interesting process where everybody's just kind of doing what feels good, right? Because she looks good, and you trust a big butt to smile, and next thing you know, you're laying down with this person, and maybe you're even creating a baby with this person or whatever. And a lot of guys, a lot of us, we get sucked in by a big butt and a smile. We see that pretty girl. We think that because she's pretty, she's a good person. Because she's pretty, she's mentally stable. Because she's pretty, she's good for my life. When really there are a lot of people that come in very beautiful packages, but have really damaged insides, right? And in fact, for example, a good way, just some OG advice, Uncle Boyce advice for guys in terms of understanding women is ask that woman about her father. Ask her about her relationship with her father, because if she has a bad relationship with her father and has not had therapy to kind of work through that and process that and come out in a healthy space, there's a good chance that all of her relationships with men are going to fall apart. And then you can double confirm that if you want to, by then asking her about her ex-boyfriends. Like just let her talk. Same thing. Ladies, you can do the same thing. Ask men about their mothers, ask them about their previous relationships. And if every ex-girlfriend is a raggedy bitch who deserves to die, then you'll be the next raggedy bitch who deserves to die. Because people like that, they write the end of the story before the story begins. Like, they know how the story is going to end before it even starts. So basically, It doesn't matter. Like, you might be thinking, oh, I'm the first woman to ever treat him well. All his exes were terrible. Or, oh, I'm the first one to ever be nice to her. Like, I'm going to be Captain Save-A-Ho, whatever, like, and I want to help her get better because she's been through so much terrible stuff with these other men that have victimized her. Well, no, you going to be victimizer number 7, because in her mind, there is a narrative that is already written. There's a term in statistics for that. It's called Bayesian priors. Bayesian priors basically say that when people come into a situation with a bias, they come into it creating a reality, even if the reality is not there. Right. That's why mindset's so important. That's why I'm so big on psychology and the subconscious mind, and also the victim mentality. The victim mentality is very dangerous because a person with a victim mentality will turn you into a predator. Listen when I say this. A person who lives with a victim mentality will convert you into a predator. You will go and try to help them because they're a victim, and you're like, oh, I want to help this poor victim. Well, you're going to be the next predator on their list. So what I would say, in fact, some of these people with the victim mentality, they will victimize you and then tell the story as if you were the predator. Like, yeah, I shot him in the head, but it hurt me so bad when he was cheating on me with all those bitches. Right, like he was sleeping around with all these women, or he was in, or one of the good ones I've heard is he's emotionally abusive. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, sometimes I've seen people say that someone's emotionally abusive just because he wouldn't go for your bullshit, or just because he told you that he didn't agree with you, or you wanted another Gucci bag and he told you he wasn't going to get you one. So now he's emotionally abusive because he sat your ass down and said, stop it. I'm not spending no more money on you, because you had a standard, you had a boundary. So the key thing really, in my opinion, again, this is Uncle Boyce talking here. Take it with a grain of salt. If what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you, then fuck it. You can just do whatever. But I will say this. And somebody says sounds like Cynthia G. I'm not gonna talk about Cynthia because Cynthia was a friend of mine. But what I will say is that if you ever hear her talk about her father, that will tell you a whole lot about that person, right? I'm not even gonna say her name anymore because I'm not trying to make it about a person. But I will say to you that a lot of people, you can really get insights into how they see the world by how they see their parents, their opposite sex parent. So ladies should be really cautious about men who hate their mothers or who have big issues with their mothers, because men like that, unfortunately, in many cases, not all cases, they don't make the best decisions when it comes to women because you got this pent up resentment. Now having the same sex parent have been fucked up. That means you just had a bad role model. So men who have bad fathers, they just tend to not know how to be fathers because they don't have a template to base fatherhood on. They don't know what manhood looks like a lot of times. So maybe they learn it from a rapper or what they see on TV, which we know that's bullshit, right? So a lot of men that don't have good fathers don't know how to be men, and women who don't have good mothers, same thing, right? But usually most of our kids have mothers that are very present and fathers that are not in the house. It doesn't mean that their fathers are not involved in their lives or doing their best, right? A lot of fathers do that. But the other thing too is that it's hard for a father to have a huge impact on the kids if he's not in the house. That's why I would say to you, if I was to give advice in a nutshell to guys, I would say to you, if you lay down with a woman, I really encourage men to try your best to think about where you're planting your seed. Now, I'm not telling you how to control your sex life. I don't think that anybody has the right to do that. I don't think that's possible. Sex just feels too good. It's just too tempting. The universe played a dirty trick on you by making you horny all the damn time. So life happens. We all make mistakes. But if you can control that, if you can engage in sexual discipline for men, I'm talking men in particular, the ability to have sexual discipline is critical in your ability to succeed in life. If you can have sexual discipline and you're not dropping your seed in any toxic waste dump that happens to walk by, or dropping, or getting naked in the bedroom with any stripper, any big booty stripper who happens to twerk real good, then what happens is that you're able to protect your legacy, you're able to protect your health, you're able to protect your reputation, because bad people will make accusations or they'll attack you, or like this poor guy, he got shot in the head, right? And, so like crazy things like that happen. So you got to be thoughtful about who you let into your life, because if you're empire building, and I'm talking to the kings here, if you're empire building and you're trying to really do some special shit in your life, you got to protect all that. You must protect your territory in order to be a king. And the same thing is true with ladies. I mean, I know a lot of guys come along and it's kind of a dirty trick on you too. The guys that have all the babies mamas, like guys like Future, those guys tend to be the ones who who are the best looking, they got the most swag, and they got the best penis, right? They the women get in the bed, it's the best feeling, best experience in the world. And if you're into the moment, into what feels good in the moment, it can just seem like a dream come true, right? But this guy, you look at a guy like a Future. I look at his life. His life is really fascinating to me because his life is so utterly ridiculously fucked up. It's so fucking terrible. It's ridiculous, but it ain't his fault. He was probably raised by people that didn't guide him. They didn't give him good advice, like I'm kind of sharing with you guys. So maybe it's just the way things work out, right? Whatever. But I did see something this week where the rapper Future had this crazy thing where he was at his 8-year-old son's birthday party, and it's like some, of course they're spending a bunch of money because he's famous, and all people care about is whether you're famous and rich. They think that's success. That ain't fucking success. If you're famous and rich and you're not happy and your life's a damn mess, then you pretty much lost the game of life. You haven't won anything. But he's at this party, right? And his 8-year-old son, I guess, pisses him off. And according to his mother, Future says, fuck you. I'll put holes in your mama. I'll shoot bullet holes in your mama. It was something crazy that she claims he said. Now, I don't know if he actually said it. Maybe he didn't say it. Maybe she was just saying he did. But anyway, so she goes to Instagram and she's like, yo, bitch ass nigga, you blah, 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 blah. Like, he's like, you ran away when I came, right? And I was watching this, right? And I told you, I'm a student of life. Like, I'm not just a teacher, I'm a student. I watch things and I say, that's so interesting. Wow. Well, look at her. Ooh. And I'm figuring things out, right? And so here's the thing I figured out from that, right? So first of all, dumbass people tend to have the most kids, right? Because God, again, another dirty trick God played on us is he made sex really easy. If they put sex like in the back of a really long book, then we would be better off as a society, because then you'd actually have to read a book to learn how to have sex. Like if sex was as hard as like starting a business or learning to invest, or as hard as like, getting a master's degree, then it would be kind of cool, because then the only people that actually do it were the people that really actually learn the responsibility that comes with raising kids and all that stuff, right? But the other interesting thing is that so given that the craziest people tend to have the most kids, I don't know if anybody else notices this, because they're in the moment, they're not wearing the condom, they're sleeping with everything that moves, and next thing you know, you got all these damn kids kind of splattered out everywhere, and with no guidance, terrible parents, completely traumatized. And I'm thinking about this 8-year-old boy, and I'm thinking, oh my God. This 8-year-old boy just sat here and watched his parents like go off on each other, and then the mama runs to Instagram to call her daddy, to call his daddy a bitch ass nigga, and he's over here doing whatever he's doing, and allegedly threatening to shoot his mama. And I'm thinking, my God, this is so interesting, because this boy's going to be in therapy for the rest of his life, or he's going to just do terrible things for the rest of his life because his parents are just stupid. And a lot of kids I feel so bad for those of you who grew up with just dumbass parents. And a lot of people have dumbass parents. And so when I think about this, also, I think about, for men, for example, just little things like, if you are dealing with a woman, if she is the type of woman that's going to get mad and go off and run off to Instagram and talk crazy about you after, even though she's a mother of your child, without thinking about how this affects the child, that might not be the woman for you. Especially if you're a man that's trying to have some success and you're trying to build a life for yourself and achieve some things. You don't want some raggedy, crazy, sloppy woman in your life. And the same thing is true with women. I mean, I think about, okay, if you're sleeping with Future, right? Because maybe the penis is good and you think he looks good and he's rich and he's famous, which makes people think that person's successful. Well, really, I think he's a miserable failure. I think he's a terrible failure. But we live in a materialistic society where people base success on stupid things like how much money you have, or how famous you are, how many hit records you have, whatever. And so you're laying down your baby, he's got 6 babies mamas already. And so you're going to be baby mama number 7, and you become baby mama number 7. And then you're just mad because your life is a complete mess. But you know what it is too? Here's another thing too. Not everybody's a critical thinker. Not everybody is able to think in terms of long-term effects of the choices they make. A lot of people think in terms of instant gratification. There's a professor at Stanford by the name of Ken Sapolsky who explained that literally the human brain, the difference between your brain as a human and the brain of an animal is like 5%. Literally only 5% of your brain separates you from a dog, right? And if you look at the way dogs behave, dogs don't think about the future. Dogs don't, if it looks good, the dog wants to fuck it. If it tastes good, the dog wants to eat it, right? The dog will just do dumb shit. If you leave a dog like a week's worth of food and you go on vacation, you know what the dog's going to do? The dog's going to eat all the food on the first day and he's going to starve for the rest of the week. Right. And here's what's interesting. Right. So stay with me on this. Stay with me on this analogy. So that 5% of your brain that separates you from an animal, this is me, you, all of us, right? That 5% is in what they call the prefrontal cortex. That's up here in the front of the brain, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a brain expert. I got to ask Alicia. She knows more about the brain than I do, but I think that that's true. So in the front of the brain, this prefrontal cortex, that's responsible for your logical thinking. That's the part of you that makes you like say, you know, if I save my money, I'll have more money than I'll have if I spend my money right now. Or that's the part of your brain that says, yeah, I really want to have sex with you right now, but I don't think I want to live the rest of my life with a horrible STD because you look like you've been around the block about 8,444 times, right? That prefrontal cortex is a part of your brain that maybe says, you know, if I go to school every day, I can have a better future than if I sit and watch TV, right? And here's the thing about the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex gets broken down and weakened and watered down by consuming television, like watching me, like people that sit in front of the TV. It kills their ability to have critical thinking skill. That's why they don't call it programming for a reason. You really are programmed. So if you're sitting there just watching TV and taking in media, you're literally your critical thinking ability drops, right? And Black people watch more TV than any other group of people in America. Did you know that? Go look up the Nielsen reports. They said we love Black people. Black people watch a ton of TV. We can sell them anything. We can tell that we can convince them to do anything because they just sit there and they watch TV and they're like they become zombies because their critical thinking skill has dropped. And if you look at some people's choices, and let's go full circle here. If you look at the way some people live their life, you can't distinguish between the way they might choose to live and the way an animal might choose to live. I'm not saying these people are animals. I'm not going that far. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. But think about this, right? How many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you know guys who literally will sleep with anything that moves? Like won't even think about where the girl's been, what the consequences might be, what's going to happen if he does it. How many of you know guys who literally just cannot control their penis, right? That's a lack of critical thinking skill, lack of strategic thinking. How many of you know a woman who's easily swept off her feet, who falls for any smooth talking dude, maybe with some gator shoes or who knows how to spit the right words or whatever, and spit the right game at her, and next thing you know, she's got baby daddy number 4. And she doesn't know how that happened. Like she's almost like you have to give her sex education to explain, well, you know that baby arrived because you let him put his penis in your vagina. And you should probably think a couple times before you do that, right? A lot of you know people like that, right? So here's my theory. This is Uncle Boyce this is late night Dr. Boyce talking. This is just me speculating in terms of the stuff that goes on through my head as I watch life, as I go through the University of Life. I also think that another factor that causes people to make terrible, terrible choices is that I don't believe that we have a culture that encourages critical strategic thinking. I think that people that think critically are kind of made fun of, like, oh, you're acting white, or, no, I'm just trying to invest for my future. Oh, you must think you better than everybody else. No, I just want my kids to know how to read. Like seriously, I don't think that we have people that really say that's really good. I don't think that men are encouraged to be strategic and thoughtful about what women they lay down with. I think I've seen where guys make fun of each other, like, oh man, she look good, man. Why you didn't hit that? What you talking about, man? Or maybe women marry men because he's rich. Like, oh girl, like that lady, like when we were talking about the Kevin Samuels dating guy, and he talked to the lady, and the one thing the lady said is she came in and he's like, what kind of man do you want? I want a 6-figure man. And I'm like, damn, is that it? Like that's the only criteria? Like so literally to get access to your womb, which is incredibly precious and valuable until you decide that it's going to be cheap, to destroy a man could come in and destroy your life. He can come in, infect you with diseases. He can come in and with all kinds of chaos and craziness. And all he's got to do is make 6 figures. 6 figures, or a man having money in his pocket, or buying you a Gucci bag, or taking you out to a nice dinner, maybe taking you to Red Lobster and giving you the cheddar biscuits, will open the door for him to come into your life and wreak all kinds of holy hell in your shit. And it's all because of how much money he has. I find that utterly fascinating. That is just, and that's definitely a recipe for destroying your life. Okay, so anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, please. Take a second, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I would love for you guys to do that because one of my YouTube channels got shadow banned by YouTube because I shared a Farrakhan video, but I don't care. I would do it 1,000 times over. But it would really help me if you guys would subscribe to things and hit the notification bell and all that, so that, you know, as they try to shadow ban me for telling, I guess, I don't know, too much truth or being too black or whatever they punish you for. Now, we can still connect. So also you can, another way to connect with me is to text the word voice to 31996, text voice to 31996. And if you use apps like either Clubhouse or Parler is really cool. I like Parler because it's freedom of speech. I'm at Dr. Boyce Watkins on both of those apps. So feel free to follow me on Parler or Clubhouse and all this other stuff at Dr. Boyce Watkins. A couple thoughts about this lady, Anne Marie. Again, I don't know Anne Marie, and I'm not even really here to talk about Anne Marie. I'm using Anne Marie. She's like the pinup template, or this situation is the pinup template for me to really talk to you because I want you to win. I want you to have a good life. And sometimes I like to talk to young people and even older people that might value something I had to say because I really want you to be successful. And I think good life management is critical for you to succeed. Like you can't just go willy-nilly being sloppy, bringing people into your life and getting into stupid situations and have it be okay. So one thing I would say is that this particular example of domestic violence, domestic abuse, I've seen it happen. I see it happen across the board. I see women get abused by men, but what isn't talked about is how many men get abused by women. There are lots of women who will physically abuse you, who will emotionally abuse you, who will destroy your reputation by going out and telling lies about you. There are women who are predators. This woman, if she did shoot him in the head, she is a predator. Cardi B, who talked about drugging men and getting them raped by a tranny, is a predator. She is a predator on the loose, right? And so what I would say to you, the best advice I would say to you is, especially for the black men, is when you go in a situation like that and you're dealing with somebody that shows predatory behavior, and you can see it early. If you listen to people long enough and you watch their behavior long enough, most people will eventually show you exactly who they are. It is up to you to decide if you want to listen, because a lot of times we don't listen. We're like, oh, shoot, girl, he got real jealous because I said hi to that man. Oh, that's so cute. I think it's so cute that he got jealous. No, he's showing you who he is. He's showing you that he's a crazy, jealous, insecure motherfucker, and you need to pay attention to that. You need to listen. He's sending you signals, right? You need to pick it up. Same thing with guys. A lot of times you meet, it's hard for us as men. We meet a real beautiful woman. Studies actually show that when a man meets a beautiful woman, he attributes good characteristics to her. Like he thinks she's a good person because she's really pretty. So a lot of predatory women, like a Cardi B type, can get you to drop all your guards if they show up with a pretty smile, a nice booty or whatever. And that's how Cardi B and a lot of her friends would rob men or rape them or whatever, is they would pretty much just come in looking all good and cute. And guys, we kind of get weak. We kind of let our guard down. And guys that really want to succeed, that understand how to assess threats from every direction, will understand that the easiest way, all throughout history, one of the easiest ways that men have gotten other men murdered or incarcerated or whatever is by using a woman as bait. So you got to be cautious as a man about like what women you allow around you. Seriously. The other thing too is I'm a believer in therapy. I think therapy is something that we don't do enough of in the Black community. I encourage you to do that. Therapy is something that doesn't mean you're fucked up. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It means you want to be better. It means you want to be a better human being. You want to be better in your relationship. And so if you get in the relationship with somebody that shows you these warning signs, first thing I would say is get out. That means also, like, guys, she goes crazy, she gets mad, she starts throwing shit, whatever. Just shut down and walk out. Walk out, get away, get as far away from that as possible. The way you deal with crazy people is you got to get away from them. Sure, they might scream and holler or whatever. Because I've had to get away from some crazy people. I've been around some crazy people in personal and professional settings where I got away from them. And some of them actually are on YouTube screaming and hollering. Dr. Boyce is a basketball. No, it's because I cut ties with your ass and you're screaming to get my attention, but you're not getting my attention because I see crazy and I walk away from that, right? And that's because you must quarantine your life. You have to quarantine your life because people will bring bad energy. They'll bring crazy drama. They'll bring lies. They'll bring ridiculousness. And really what's going on is they just have unresolved trauma from terrible things that they've gone through, and they're just kind of wreaking havoc on the world. And so if you're a person who's kind of identified that and become at peace with that, you want to find other people who've done the same thing, right? You have to identify each other so you can form healthy relationships instead of connecting yourself with somebody who's going to infect you with the crazy niggosity that we see out here in our community. We have a lot of really crazy people that are just traumatized. The other thought too is last piece on this. This is important. Drugs and alcohol. One thought that went through my mind when I saw this thing with Anne Marie and her boyfriend was, I said, I wonder if anybody was drunk. I wonder if anybody had been smoking and drinking or popping pills. And I'm not judging. I don't judge what people do with their lives. I just don't give a fuck in that point. Seriously. But there's something to be said about, how drugs. Let me just say this. There's a lot of people who are doing life in prison right now because of things they did while they were high or while they were drunk. There's a lot of guys. I know guys that went to prison for 20 years because they got, drunk at the club, got into a fight. Somebody stepped on their toe, disrespected them or whatever. And they made a decision with a gun that cost them, the next 20 years. Like, didn't get to watch their kids grow up, spend time in prison, getting beaten and raped, traumatized for life, had their whole youth stolen, like in prison from 18 to like 46, like shit like that. You don't want to go through something like that. And so Malcolm X had an old saying that said, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then he'll lock you up for being drunk. And what I just really think, this is just me, when I was, I taught on college campuses and stuff. And at Syracuse, Syracuse was like known for alcohol. Like, they're known more for that than they are for academics, actually. They're just a big party school. And I saw a lot of really terrible things happen with college students because of drugs and alcohol. And what made me mad, what pissed me off about it, I actually got into a fight and a public argument with a black professor over this because they were all what pissed me off was the older people who were in my age group who should know better were not doing enough to make sure the young people knew the dangers of messing around a lot with drugs and alcohol at an early age. There's a lot of people, thousands of people every year get raped under the influence of drugs and alcohol. They commit crimes under the influence of drugs and alcohol. People get killed under the influence of drugs and alcohol. They get behind the wheel and accidentally kill somebody drunk driving, and they're doing all these years in prison behind drugs and alcohol. So I'm not telling you what to do, and I know everybody does it. You see, people think it's safe and they think it's okay because everybody does it. That's what makes it most dangerous, because you think it's okay because everybody does it. But what they don't tell you is about that other side of that. For example, I know guys when I went to college who were really good guys who had a great future, who literally, maybe one of my friends, he pledged a fraternity his freshman year, and they loved to drink. And so he started drinking all the time. They would use drugs or whatever. He's still an alcoholic and drug addict to this day. Like 30 years later, he still is an alcoholic and drug addict. And what that means is, like, his kids don't respect him. His family don't respect him. His life ain't turned into shit. His health is horrible. And he's an embarrassment to the family, and I think that you just want to kind of at least process all of that. And I'm thinking in this particular case with Anne Marie and her boyfriend, if alcohol or drugs were involved, I bet you that having a presence of mind would minimize the likelihood that you have an accident like this happen. A lot of shit like this that happens because somebody's been drinking, somebody's been smoking, somebody's been popping pills. That's not normal. They market that to you. They market that to you in the media. They love to tell you, they love to have hip. I've been drinking, I've been smoking, I've been drinking, I've been smoking. Future. We were talking about the rapper Future earlier. He had a song called Molly Percocet. Like, literally, that was the chorus. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, is that how stupid our world is? That literally to make millions of dollars, I got to make a song where I'm constantly repeating the words Molly Percocet and doing a damn nursery rhyme commercial. I'm doing an advertisement for deadly drugs, and all these young people are going to go out here and do what the fuck I said to do on the record because ain't nobody out here telling them any different. Next thing you know, these kids are dying from overdoses, or they're fucking up their lives, or they're doing terrible shit, getting life in prison, killing each other, getting raping, all kinds of stuff under the influence of these drugs. And you're marketing this openly. And remember, this goes back to white supremacy, because white people don't let white people market shit that is dangerous on a regular basis like that. They don't do that. You can't do songs where you're marketing unhealthy behavior to white people on mass scale. Sometimes there are exceptions, yes, but right now, for example, there's a big company that is on trial, on criminal trial, for selling opioids because you saw those white people get hooked on the opioids and they're all dying from the opioids. Well, these people are going to go to prison for that, or they're paying billions of dollars for that. They told them they can't do that anymore. So I just think that as Black people, or as concerned parents and as concerned human beings, maybe we should say something. Maybe we should stop feeling like, it's always real funny. Like I know, I'm a finance guy, right? I know my financial stuff. I've got my credentials in that, and they're good. I'm comfortable with that. But I have to be more than just a guy talking about, wealth and money if we're not talking about life. Because money is not as important as life, and money is only a tool to enhance your life. So the goal is not to have a lot of money. Fuck money. These people some of these rappers got all kinds of money, can't even read to their children at night because they never took the time to learn how to read. So high on dope that they can't even remember their kids' names. So, I mean, just sitting up, just lives all messed up and crazy. And we think that they're successful because they have money. If you really want to win at this thing in life, in my opinion, you got to go deeper than the superficial. You cannot just focus on the basics and win at a complex game because life is complex. So that's it. I don't know what's going to happen with this young lady, Anne Marie, and the boyfriend thing. I think from a relationship standpoint, obviously avoid crazy people, no matter how good the sex is. The minute you start seeing too much crazy, you need to detach yourself and distance yourself. You need to socially distance from all that. And I think that when you're picking partners in relationships, I think that a couple of things I could say that I've seen work really well is one, if you're trying to grow and do better, pick a person that wants to grow and do better too. If they refuse to grow and refuse to get better and refuse to evolve, then that's not the person for you because that's only going to hold you back. It's only going to stress you out and frustrate you. Also, when you get into conflicts in relationships, find a person that wants to resolve conflicts. There are two types of people that when it comes to conflicts, there are people that want to resolve conflicts and people that want to escalate conflicts, people that put water on the fire and people that pour grease on the fire. You do not want a person who pours grease on the fire because you're going to just end up one-upping each other to the point where everything blows up and explodes. So look for somebody that wants to resolve conflicts, that wants to get along with you, that wants the relationship to work, and then show them that same respect. And then when there's a problem, you can say, okay, we got a problem. We want to make this work. How do we both get together to solve this problem? Because you're not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. The problem is the enemy, and we're going to attack the problem together. That is an important part of healthy relationships. So anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button before you go. Also, there's one program we have at the Black Business School for young people called Black Keys to Greatness, blackkeystogreatness.com. It used to have a fee. There was a cost with it. I removed the cost entirely. It's totally free now. It's totally free. And the reason I did that is because in this program, what I do is I break down all my strategies on life and success, how to find your happiness, how to overcome obstacles, how to deal with haters, how to set goals, how to be a successful person. And I think I know a lot about this shit. I don't know. I'm not perfect at any of this, but I can tell you a couple things. I'm going to brag on myself. One, I was the only Black person, only African-American that I know of anywhere in the world to get a PhD in the year 2002. It was hard as hell. It was very, very hard. I had to beat out students from Russia and China and white people and everything else. And you can't do that when you're thinking like an average person. If I thought like an average person, I would have gave up because it got way too hard. And there's other things in there as well. I can honestly say, when I look at my life, I can honestly say that I thought about what life I wanted. I created that life. I thought about what kind of woman I wanted to marry. I'm marrying that kind of woman. I thought about what kind of money I wanted to make. I'm making that kind of, I'm actually making more money than I wanted to make when I was younger, but but money's not that important. I told you that. It's just a tool. It's just part of the process. Health wise, I wanted to lose weight. I lost weight, right? I ran a marathon, right? I was fat and I ran a marathon, right? So there's like a way of thinking that you have to be able to stay focused, to achieve your goals, to strategically choose who you allow into your life. Like I don't talk to everybody. I don't even answer my phone. People call me and they're like, hey, I want to talk to you for a few minutes on the phone. a lot of times I come off as antisocial, but it's because I've learned a way to protect my peace and to make sure that the things that I value are put at the top of the priority list. Because if you get caught up in doing what other people do and following the crowd and whatever, man, a lot of these people are out here losing. They look like they're winning, but they are definitely losing. And if you follow people like that, then you're going to be losing too. So don't follow those people. Follow yourself. Be smart. Be strategic. The blackkeystogreatness.com. Feel free to go there. Like I said, if you sign up, it'll be totally free. The lifetime membership was like $1,000 or something, but literally it will cost you $0, 0 cents. And I won't ever ask you to pay for that. So feel free to go sign up. It's blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. Also, text the word voice to 31996 if you want me to text you whenever I go live and stuff like that. Tomorrow, actually, we're going to talk about some stuff on our all black panel. We have all black panels a couple times a week, and it's going to be some good stuff. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.